Okay, so moving on now to my next review of the second story arc, and I'm going to talk about the, I guess you could say, the Nightmare Rarity story. I can't remember the actual name for it, so for the sake of argument, let's just call it the Nightmare Rarity story, because I literally cannot remember what this actual story is called, so forgive me. But anyway, this story is more, I'll say this right now, this has more of an epic feel to it. This definitely has a more epic storytelling to it. And I really like that. I like that this one, I mean, not to say the first volume was pretty epic, but it had an epic ending. This one, for the first half, it just kind of had a lot of build-up and meandering. This one had a more epic story, but it did have its flaws. But not to say that it was bad, not to say that it was bad at all. It also has a different creative team behind it, which I didn't mind. I didn't mind that at all. But anyway, let's get into the story. Now, the story begins... the story starts off with the main six are having nightmares. Each night they're having nightmares, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. And then they decide to have a sleepover where suddenly this strange cloud of smoke kidnaps Rairty and takes her to the moon. And suddenly Celestia and Luna appear. Now, here's the big thing when I wanted to bring up continuity. Now, they bring up so much continuity, but here's the big thing. Luna is Luna we saw as in the first time we see her and through the most of this story arc until you see this picture right here for cover of issue 8. Luna, for the most part, Luna is in the look she had when, you know, she was taken away from the from the powers of Nightmare Moon. And I was like, that's a big continuity error. I was like, is this supposed to be after? And it was like, no, it's before. I mean, is it supposed to be before the whole Nightmare Night thing? But then they're like, no, because they mention other stuff from Season 2 and how the rest of the... And they mention how she's the Guardian of Dreams. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm guessing that's a big continuity error. But a lot of people... The big headcanon is that she's only goes by the whole princess... her real princess form when she's feeling empowered. So I'm guessing she's feeling kind of... You know, she takes that... I'm guessing that they're going by the headcanon of when she feels like down on herself, she takes that younger form. That's the only explanation I can give you, other than I guess the artist really wanted to draw that until they said, hey, draw her as she's supposed to be. That's the only other option. But anywho, the story continues is that we find out that Rarity has been captured by the Nightmare Forces, which are the Nightmare Forces are the things that merged with Luna to become Nightmare Moon 1,000 years ago, and after they were defeated by the main six, by the Elements of Harmony, Luna assumed that they died. They withered and died off. They didn't have anything to feed on. What she forgot, however, was they kind of went back, and during the events of a new moon, their powers revitalized, and they took over the creatures of the moon. There are actual creatures on the moon that Luna ruled over for a short time until her nightmare powers took over her. So there was that, and plus the Nightmare Forces themselves. Let's talk about the Nightmare Forces real quick. The Nightmare Forces, they have a cool design of them. They're puffs of, they look almost like creatures you'd see in Darkness comics, almost like if you had a cartoon version of it, maybe. But the problem is that they kind of come off kind of stupid. They come off very scary when you first see them, but then when you find out their names are like Jerome and Larry and... Yeah, that kind of takes away from... I know it's supposed to be funny, but this is supposed to be an unfunny thing. Also, let me bring this up. When they're digging through they're bringing out all the nightmares of the main six. I have to bring this up, and most of you guys know who know me and read this comic know that I would. Mabel from Gravity Falls makes a cameo appearance in here. That was so cool. Like a pony version of Mabel shows up, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Oh boy, so I had to bring that up, and it turns out that also why they chose Rairty. They chose Rairty to become, they merged with Rairty, their nightmare powers with Rairty, because her generosity, not only because, the circle of the main six and the Elements of Harmony are powerless at the moment, but also because her generosity, she wants to help everybody. Even, they kind of explained they took advantage of her generosity and abused it and took over and made Nightmare Rarity, who's terrifying, by the way. Nightmare Rarity is actually... not only is she a cool villain, but also Nightmare Rarity is so much like... has so much like fan art to her, and, there are actual music about her. it was so cool. Like, the moment when I saw Nightmare Rarity, I was like, yeah, you're going to be very much liked by the fan artist and you're going to be liked so much by the fandom, this character design at least. And I'm wondering if there'll be, like, if there are any artists out there of, like, Nightmare Fluttershy and Nightmare Pie and Nightmare Jack. I don't know. It'd be cool, though. Just saying. But, so the story continues, getting back on track, and I've been kind of scatterbrained on this, but Luna and the remainder of the main six and Spike go to the moon, encounter Nightmare Rarity and the Nightmare Forces. Luna is forced to go back to Ponyville to help Celestia mount a defense against the oncoming Nightmare Forces. And what happens next is pretty much that the main six are captured, and they realize that the power of friendship is always with them, and while this is going on, Spike, who had been punched half across the moon, is on his way to try to rescue Rarity with the help of these slugs that can that can camouflage themselves. So he gets help from these space slugs that can camouflage themselves. And here's the really cool part. In the final issue, you see Luna and Celestia back in Ponyville, and they're rallying defenses. Now, normally they have a few guards there, but it's mostly the people of Ponyville who are helping them. You've got Big Macintosh, you've got Trixie, you've got Dr. Hooves, you've got Octavia and Vinyl Scratch and Derpy. And the Cakes are even there, and all of them are gathering to protect their town. And all of it, like when the Nightmare Forces come, they come down to Ponyville, and it's just on. They all fight. I mean, Dr. Hooves fights them with a sonic screwdriver. At that moment, I was just like, "Yay!" But I thought that was pretty cool, and I'm actually kind of hoping that somewhere down the line, in this comic book series, we get a micro series that talks about the other background characters. I'd really like to see a Trixie background story, at least a one-shot at least, and Dr. Hooves and Vinyl and Octavia, and a few other characters. I'd really like to see them try to do that, because obviously the background characters sometimes get more hype than the main six. So I think that's pretty cool. But long story short, obviously, Luna overcomes her fears, and we find out that it was her fears of, letting everyone down was the big drive for the Nightmare Forces to give them energy to take over her original citizens of the moon, and that's what they took over for a while. But then Luna and the main six manage to rescue Rarity, and the Nightmare Forces are defeated forever, and they manage to save the creatures of the moon. So that's the whole story right there. I don't think that's the thing, is like both of these were 4-part stories, and this one, I have to say, this one felt much like, I think the writer was going for, this is the closest you'll see to My Little Pony, the Dark Phoenix Saga. You've got a character who's taken over by a malevolent, one of the good characters that is taken over by a malevolent force, and the rest of them are trying to save her, and it's a cosmic story. It is very much MLP, the Dark Phoenix Saga, in my opinion, but that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who got that vibe. I don't know. But anyway, all in all, I actually like this one a bit better than the first arc. Not to say the last arc was bad. I just like this one because this one focuses on a lot of background characters, and the forefront characters are very interesting. There's actually a lot of good character building, and this is a very Rarity-focused one. I mean, not to say Rarity's my all-time favorite. I like them all. I like all the characters equal. Pinkie Pie's my #1, but that's another story. But Rarity's has some cool moments, and Luna, I can't say anything bad about Luna. Luna's just awesome, and Luna and Rarity are the big two characters here, and I really like that. I really like how Luna is put in the forefront. And again, can we get a Luna miniseries? I'm not asking for an ongoing, because that would be probably impossible. So can we at least get a Luna micro series and a Celestia micro series and a Discord micro? Come on, ADW, you're awesome. Do it. Anywho, I think again, if you're an MLP fan, I really like this, and there were a few other references in here. Too many to name. Oh, there's also this really good one where Granny Smith and Big Macintosh are fighting some of the Nightmare Forces, and Granny Smith just takes them out with a karate chop and goes, and Big Mac actually says, "By the mane of Miyagi." And I'd laugh so hard when I saw that, because not only did he talk, he mentioned Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid, which I thought was so cool. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you later.